So for today's Q&A time, got several emails, people asking a couple questions. Gonna get to as many as I can today. Try and answer as many clearly as possible. For you, especially for you new people, stick around. We'll see if we can answer as many as we can. Alright, first off, biggest thing I've been asked, most often asked questions, what's the difference between clear misers and atomizers? Especially when considering RDAs versus ego tanks, clarimizers, any of your pro tanks. Alright, so we're going to start there. Alright, so we have many different types of tanks, things, out on the market. Poured my magic red box all over the place. Alright, so you've got your higher end mods, right? Like the Nemesis with the IGOL. Rebuildable, meaning that you can tear it down completely from base and rebuild the coil, the wick, everything. Now, the battery itself is not much more than a simple 18650 battery, right? Inside a metal sleeve. Pretty simple. Now, inside, however, pretty easy. You know, 2 posts, coil, wick. Small wheel, works great. Now, ego batteries, things of that nature, much different. We've got a non-disassemblable ego style battery. Most of you start here. We all did. You know, you can pick these up anywhere from $10, $25, pretty much any gas station nowadays. Most of your smoke shop carries these, your starter packs, blister packs, whatever. Most of the time you see them come with one of these. These are nothing much more than a clear tank with an atomizer set, non-rebuildable, means not user serviceable, okay? Comes on, sits like this, does alright. Not a big fan. Don't get a whole lot of flavor, not a whole lot, but it's a good way to get started. They're cheap, you pick up these tanks, $5, $10, or you can get the kits for 25, even $15 some places, right? Comes with a short battery, long battery. I've got here is one of the Ego C twists from our local vapor shop, the Tobacco Shop A, spelt with 2 P's and an E. Then you've got things like this. You've got your Vivinova, right? 3.5 mil tanks. Sometimes user serviceable. You can rebuild the coil if you like. Got a mess here, currently building. They work better. You know, you can rebuild the coil, you can rebuild the heating element, keep going. Anytime it goes out, just take it apart, go back, do it again. Really easy to use. Wide base, great flavor, great upstart. These range anywhere from $10, $15, $20, depending on where you get them. 20 would be a bit high. I wouldn't pay more than $10 for one of these Vivinova tanks. Alright? Unless you're getting a ton of extra parts, maybe even a mech to go with it. But we'll cover mechs later, alright? Now, one of my personal favorites when I'm not using my Nemesis, the Pro Tank. This Kanger Pro Tank 3 Mini was sent to me courtesy of Kanger Tech for this review, and I will have a video for that later this week. But these are rebuildable atomizing tanks. Bottom fed means there's no wick, alright? You got a short heating element, and instead of your clarimizer, which runs off wicks that just soak up just like your Vivinova tanks, right? Long extensions of wicks, top feeding. Highly inefficient. Can't speak highly of these. These are dime a dozen, they burn out quickly, you have to replace them all the time. Not a big fan. Now, with these, the bottom fed Kanger tanks, there are all kinds of them. You pick this thing up, $9, eBay. Not a bad price, especially seeing this it's stainless steel. Solid. Comes with the nice drip tip, see? Very nice. Pyrex. Original Pyrex tank. If it breaks, pick it up again, $5. Not a bad investment. Not bad. Now you can get these tanks individual, the glass piece itself, $1.50, $2 on eBay. Contact Kanger if you've got any questions. People down there, super friendly. Ask for Debbie, really nice lady. She'll take care of you. Don't worry. Now, personally, I prefer not RDAs. Only because I like the huge vapor, tons of flavor, and anytime you have any problem, you buy a $5 roll of Kanthal wire, we'll get into that in another video, and a bag of organic wick. You can use silica wick, anything like that. The only real difference between any of these tanks is going to be your preference. Do you want a user serviceable one where you can take it apart and experiment with different coils and heating elements? Do you want one that's just basic service, you're trying to quit smoking, you want to get it out there, you want to get into the flavors, want to check this stuff out? That's what you need to do. You need to try. I do not recommend, if you're wanting to experiment with hotter flavor, or more flavor, hotter elements, stuff like that, you want to get into the RDAs, these things, that's great. Best place to start for that, get yourself a Vivien Nova tank. Doesn't matter, they're sold all over the place. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, most smoke shops carry them nowadays. They fit on your Ego batteries, which we'll get into here in a little bit. They're great stuff. Excuse me for a minute. For example, got 900 milliamp battery, little short thing, right? On this Claramizer, which I have, mind you, torn apart on the inside, been an electronics geek, to take just about anything apart, put it back together, make it better. Now that being said, I have years of experience in this. Do not try to take these things apart on your own until you've gotten more into this. Do you want to try taking them apart, getting yourself a nice Vivien Nova tank, get yourself a Kanger tank, even an Aero tank. These things are great. They're great for starters. Great way to get into these things. However, take a lot more work to put together. If you really want to get started, base level, and you're completely new to this, then I gotta recommend that you try an RDA, rebuilding a rebuildable atomizer, which is what I've got here. Now, up atop my Nemesis tank, or mech, excuse me. Now, I've got to say, this is amazing. They're great stuff, great things, but most Ego batteries are not going to support the kind of power this is going to draw. You're going to get a couple minutes of draw, maybe an hour or two. You're going to have to recharge your battery if it doesn't fry it. So if you're going to do that, do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go out. There are hundreds of these. You can get yourself a clone. Don't have to be a purist about it. There are hundreds of different mechs, variable voltage mods, which we'll get into later. All these things are great, but you've got to know what you want. And if you're looking to experiment, check out people online. We're going to give you a little more information. There's plenty on here on YouTube. You can check out Grim Green, Nick, he's a great guy. Him and Amber Juice, they've been vaping for years. They are an amazing company. They have tons of videos on here, which I will put a link along the bottom here. Check them out. Vaping with Twisted 420, sorry about that. Then there's Safer Vapors, Rip Trippers, all kinds of folks on here. Not too many to try to give a shout out to everybody, but we'll get into that later. I will add a link on the description down here to anybody that, you want to know. Just ask comments, questions, anything you want to know, give me a holler, give them a holler. We'll try to get to you as fast as we can. Alright. Let's have a quick tooth. Now, next question. Claramizers, do they eventually burn out? Not just the coils, insulators. Now, to answer this, we're going to have to talk about the bad coil syndrome. Alright? Coils are burning out all the time. Happens a lot, especially on these. Apparently, gotta turn it on. Just remember to turn these things on. Not much vapor. Good flavor, but not a whole lot of vapor on it. Now, these things are going to burn out every couple of days to a couple of weeks. There's no avoiding it. They're cheaply made. They're not very well put together, but they do their job as well as they possibly can for a $2, $3 mod. Now, what I call a bad coil syndrome, and is where either coils are burning out a lot. You can try adjusting the device's voltage, which you can't do with this one, but the variable voltage Ego C or Ego T twist. Great mods, or great batteries, great for just this kind of work. Now, in some cases, the burnt taste that you're going to get from these are not going to go away. Nothing you can do about it. Which is one of the great things, again, about the Vivi Nova tank, which I showed a little earlier. Great thing. $2, go on eBay, go to their website. You know, you can order yourself a new coil, new wick system, whole thing. If you don't want to try taking it apart, you don't want to get into building yet, you just want a quick, simple fix, order yourself a couple of these. It's going to cost you $5. They'll get there in a couple of days. You've got a couple of replacements. Simply unscrew them, put them back together, they're fixed. Removes the entire element, the heating element, you remove all the insulator, the whole unit that was burned out, it's going to be gone. So you're fresh and new, like right out of the box. This being said, sometimes these small batteries will also burn out, and they will not produce the power that it needs, or will do something called a voltage jump. Now what this means is basically you're not getting a good connection until you wiggle it about a bit, and then suddenly you're getting more connection than it can handle. Or you're holding it down too long and you've got gunk that has built up inside here and has stopped letting it produce the heat like it should. Connecting places shouldn't connect, and it's going to produce a heat, a hot spot as it were, that's going to burn that cotton wick in here, and it's going to taste awful. Once it's burnt, it's burned. You can't avoid it. Only thing you can do is either replace the atomizer in here, which they do sell. I have a spare. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there you have it. That's all that's inside these little things. See? Go to one of your local smoke shops, go to online, any website will carry these things. Just check them out, pick up a spare one, replace it. It's not that bad. Okay guys, that's all for today. We'll have another video up later this week, maybe beginning of next week. All you need to know for now is keep vaping, keep strong, stay frosty. Enjoy your mods. Hey guys, vaping with shit.